Hey everyone, David here. Wanted to tell you about a company that makes some really beautiful Middle-earth inspired products. Actually, I wish I had discovered OSHA slings when my daughter was little and I was using a lot of different baby slings and carriers. They sent me one of their Ancients of Gondor Ithilden baby carriers. Honestly, the design of this carrier is cool as hell. The quality is impeccable. It's a really smart design and super easy to use. I wish I had this when I needed it. I would have loved to show off my dad nerd cred at the time. But they also sent me a really nice blanket, the Misty Mountains Throw. And now that same daughter, she monopolizes it whenever she's on the couch. It's beautiful, just the right weight. It's brushed cotton, so it's breathable and keeps us really cozy. We've been having a lot of cold weather lately, so we're always fighting over who gets to use it. A little about OSHA. They're a family-owned Scottish company. They've been handcrafting products since about 2010. Everything's ethically sourced and made in their solar-powered workshop. Check out their website. They've got a bunch of information about their sustainability practices. That's something that's really important to me. And they have this huge line of official Lord of the Rings products. They're making baby carriers, throws, scarves, mugs, tea towels, and the designs are stunning. Like, go check out the website right now. There's a link in the show notes. New customers get 10% off with the code Lorehounds. Go to OSCHAslings.com.
Danger. The emergency destruct system is now activated.
Welcome to the Alien Earth podcast. We're the Lorehounds, your guides to xenomorphically induced terror. I'm your host, David, and this is our pre-season coverage. And joining me today is my fellow Lorehounds host, Elysia. Elysia, how you doing?
Hello. Excited to be talking about a Noah Hawley show set in the Aliens universe. Never would have thought I'd see the day.
Never thought we'd see the day. So we wanted to give you some info about our coverage plans for the show, along with some production details, how the show fits into the alien story world. All of that is going to be spoiler free. And then we'll give a spoiler warning, and then we'll talk about what's known about the story so far. And we're going to do all of that at the end. So all of the other information about the context for the show and how to understand where the show fits in the broader story world, all of that stuff will be spoiler free. And then just at the very end of the podcast, we'll talk about this story because there's a bunch of people I know, like Aisha from every single sci-fi film podcast. She's like, I want nothing. I want to come in fresh and, so that's sort of the idea there. And I think we're also going to talk about our Predator coverage because we've got another movie coming later this year, and there's some very overt crossover signals coming from that movie.
Yep. So, I think we're going to learn things from this show that will be applicable knowledge for that movie.
Fingers crossed. All right, Elysia, what is your personal history with the Alien franchise? Let's talk a little bit about how we're approaching this individually before we get into some of the production details and our coverage plans.
Yeah, I mean, I was a latecomer to Alien, but I still I came to it in my 20s, so I guess that's not that late, actually. I was just considering that I had been watching horror since I was a child. I felt late to me that it took so long.
Gotcha. Wait, why didn't somebody show this to me when I was 9?
I mean, I was always aware of aliens and predators together, and I don't know. For some reason, I didn't think that they were for me until I dated someone who was into them, and so we watched all the movies, and I was like, oh.
Wait a minute.
Actually, I do like this stuff.
Right.
So then ever since I've been watching everything new that comes out and, sometimes going back to the hits.
Yeah. I can't remember if you and I talked about Romulus. How did you find Romulus in the grand scheme of things?
I think I was having a recency bias when we talked about it.
Sure.
And I think I said that it was my second favorite after the original Alien.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe I still stand by that. Aliens, I get the love for it. For me, it's a different kind of animal. It's just more of an action movie, and it doesn't have...
Totally. Yep.
I like it, but it doesn't have the parts that I really love about the first one.
Right.
suspense, yeah.
Right. A little bit more of the fun house or the horror house.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Aliens is definitely the action version of it. And I know, well, I mean, sometimes you said those aren't necessarily your favorite movies. So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess if I do find that I tip a little more toward the predator side of things. Sorry, I was giving away what my favorite movie is. But yeah, I don't know why, because I would think that, does feel like more pure action, the Predator movies, but there's something about
that's true. Right.
When they're well done, the simplicity of them. And you know what it is that I really like about them? And I think I said this to you before in a previous Predator theme podcast, but I like the underdog, the fact that the Predator movies are about outsmarting the predators rather than, because you can't, even Arnold Schwarzenegger in his peak could not take down a predator. He had to outsmart it.
Right, exactly. And then the outsmarting of the outsmarting was the predator. Spoilers, blew up a nuclear bomb.
Right.
So,
yeah, killer of killers. Catch up on it if you haven't. Is major lore implications.
Big time. So yeah, and we'll talk about the upcoming movie a little bit later. But yeah, I like you said, the Alien and Aliens were just part of the zeitgeist, just part of the cultural fabric that we've all grown up with. And I remember when 79 came out, but I don't think I saw it until much, much later. And, but it seemed like I just know that movie, even though I probably haven't seen it as many times as I have seen Aliens, which is my movie. And I remember going to the theater and seeing that. And I remember walking out with my buddies and we were just pumped and we were like, where do we sign up for the Colonial Marines? And, not the fact that they all get slaughtered, but that like we were just so pumped on that movie and its action. And then, I have to say sort of Aliens 3, I really want to love it because there is a good movie in there. And it just felt like it got a, death by 1,000 cuts from the studio, as opposed to I'm blanking the name of the director now. Anyway, but he had a good premise in there, and it felt like it got chopped up. And then everything else, I have not been a big fan of the Covenant stuff and the Alien versus Predator crossovers. They're very, quality may vary, so to speak, whether you like a lot or not. Did you know about the Alien Isolation digital series? I forgot to mention that earlier when we were talking before about the other trailers for Alien.
The Alien
Earth.
Isolation digital series? No.
Yeah. So apparently, as part of this, refresh in the IP world, post Romulus, and then with Noah Hawley and this show, they also commissioned something else, and it's a 5 or 6 part digital series. And I kind of forgot about it until I just saw it in our notes here on the outline. Yeah, there's an animated series that's basically, I believe, is it Ripley's daughter or something, goes in search of her. Yeah. So Alien Isolation, not to be confused with the game Alien Isolation, right? So
okay, all right.
So they kind of commissioned that when they kicked off, when they greenlit for Hawley. So that's an interesting thing.
Oh, I see a Wikipedia article on it. All right.
Yeah.
You're giving me new rabbit holes to go down.
Exactly. Yeah, and then I felt Romulus was a good return to form. It captured. It's like what was the 7th Star Wars movie called? The
Last Jedi? It's 7th. Sorry, The Force Awakens.
Yeah, Force Awakens. Like it's like, hey, let's play the greatest hits and get you reactivated for the universe, right? I felt Romulus was a lot like that. I enjoyed it. I thought there was some great stuff, and there was some other weird stuff in it as well.
Right.
Aliens can get weird. That's fine. But I'm really glad Romulus got made because it felt like it broke the ice and it reactivated the interest for the story world. So,
right. And apparently says the main actor, we are going to be getting David Johnson said recently in an interview that somebody asked him if Romulus was about to start filming, and he was basically like, I can't comment on that, but you're not really wrong.
Wink, wink, wink. NDA says I can't say nothing, but I'll wink at you a lot. Yeah.
But I may, need to be on a filming location in a
yeah.
in the near future.
Well, anyway, we did a bunch of Romulus coverage because that came out last year, the same as the 45th anniversary of the original Alien movie, and Aisha from Every Single Sci-Fi Film podcast and I did a crossover episode, and then we did a bunch of extra coverage around that. So we had a lot of fun. So you can go find those all in our past catalog, and I may throw in some fresh links in the show notes when I put this together. So let's next talk about production details, like what's going on with this series. So we're not going to spoil the story, but this is the official log line. Like this is what's officially out there, and everybody's basing information. When a mysterious space vessel crash lands on Earth, a young woman and a ragtag group of tactical soldiers make a fateful discovery that puts them face to face with the planet's greatest threat. So nicely, vague, but clearly pointing to the xenomorph. And, I think it starts to think about some of those questions about how did the corporation in the original movie know about the existence of the alien? So I
we're not allowed to talk about trailers now.
We should. I want to save anything that would spoil the story. Yeah, for later.
Okay, zipping the lip.
Okay, but once we get there, we'll let it all go. So some of the season details. This is being produced by FX. And so wherever you find FX around the world, I know in some places it's Disney, some places it's Hulu, Disney, whatever. Anyway, it's just produced by FX and whoever has their deal.
Did you see they made the announcement they're officially going to finally fold Hulu into Disney Plus?
Right. Oh, well, yeah. Okay. Yeah. So Hulu has been on a tile on Disney in the United States now for a little while.
They're going to phase out Hulu.
Oh, interesting. Oh,
just before we recorded, people were posting it in the Discord.
Oh, that's interesting. So it's going to dissolve into Disney as opposed to be an imprint.
Right.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, it'll just be like it is here. Yeah.
Disney's got like Nat Geo and Star Wars. I mean, they have these little, thematic things.
Yeah, we have a tile called Stars with a Z. Okay. And I guess that's Hulu. But it's just, the content's just mixed in with the rest.
Right. Fair enough. Anyway, it's going to be an 8-episode season. They're going to do a double drop. And so episodes 1 and 2 are going to drop in the United States on Tuesday, August 12th. And I think Luke was checking in, and it looks like it's the time zone thing. So wherever you are in the time zone relative to the evening.
It'll be middle of the night for Europe and Africa, but prime time for the Americas.
Exactly. So it's going to show weekly on Tuesdays thereafter. So 3 through 8 will be every week thereafter. And about half the episode titles have been released. But I've seen the remainder of them out there, so I have them in a document somewhere. But they're keeping some back, but some definitely got out. And some of the titles do affect, I think, are indicative of some of the themes that they're pushing forward. So there's some meaning to them. So we won't go into them right now. As we mentioned, the primary writer and showrunner is Noah Hawley. We're going to talk about Noah Hawley in a minute.
Okay.
Get into a deeper conversation of him, but it's original music by Jeff Russo, and Ridley Scott is listed as an executive producer on this. I haven't been able to figure out how deep or how involved he was in the conversations, but it's not surprising that he's listed as an EP because of his attachment to the original Alien and then obviously the Covenant and what was the other movie? Anyway, the other 2 movies that he made. But before we talk about anything else Alien, we just have to give a shout out to Dan O'Bannon and Ronald Shusett, who are the original creators and the original writers of the script who thought of all of this whole world. And so they don't often get enough of a shout out. I mean, Ridley gets a lot of the credit, but really O'Bannon and Shusett deserve a lot more recognition. So for our cast, these are just the 3 top billing actors. Sydney Chandler, who's an American actor. I was looking up her career very early in her career. Like, she does not have a lot of shows or movies to her, just a few. So that'll be exciting. I mean, it's exciting for
a fresh
her.
face. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And exciting for her to be involved in such a big property, right? From the start. Alex Lothar, or boy Nemec. English actor. I looked up his career. Man, he is all over the place. Stage, screen, television, radio. Like, we saw him.
I knew him before Nemec because
you did. Okay, I didn't. Yeah. So
but
when I looked,
but he will always be Nemec to me.
Yes,
now.
exactly.
We'll see if this new character can.
That's right. And so we're not going to say anything about the characters at this point. And the last top billing is Timothy Olyphant, who we know from television and film, Deadwood, Justified, Fargo, Mando, and Book of Boba Fett. And he's done a bunch of fun Star Wars stuff as well. So really great to see a big name attached in there. So we've got a lot of, and looking at the rest of the cast list, a lot of young faces, early career. Looks like they got a really cool cast together. And then it's nice that we've sort of anchored with familiar face like the Olyphant, who we know is just going to act the hell out of it. All right, coverage plans. We are going to do this squadron style. That's how we did Andor, where we're going to have a rotating group of hosts. Mostly going to be recording on Fridays. The show's going to drop on Tuesdays, going to record on Fridays. Something else is happening. Oh, we've got to overlap with Foundation still, don't we?
And Peacemaker.
Peacemaker as well. So we've got busy weeks there for those over. And Peacemaker and Alien Earth are going to be running pretty much in tandem, right?
Yeah, because Peacemaker is also 8 episodes and starts, although it doesn't have a 2-episode drop, and it starts a week later.
Okay, got it.
But we're going to do a preview episode for that one too.
Right. And so we've got John and Marilyn. They'll be staying on Foundation. You and Aaron are going to be doing
John.
And Jean. Okay, great. That'll be, I can't wait till that'll be a really fun cast. Good job, by the way, on the Fantastic Four. I haven't finished listening to it. I haven't even seen the movie, but I was listening to you and Jean the other night, and it was really fun to hear you guys.
Yeah, well, I was thinking you would be into it. It's about parenting.
Okay, very cool. So then you and Jean and Aaron are going to be covering that. And then in the meantime, what I have done is I have assembled a badass international team of podcasters who are going to help me cover this. So you and Luke, sort of the Woolshift Dust team, are going to do the double episode premiere with me, and we're going to segment it. So if you only have time to watch episode 1, there'll be just an episode 1 podcast for you, and then you'll be able to watch an episode 2 podcast as a standalone whenever you get around to watching episode 2. But I think logistically, we're going to record, and then we'll just break the recording, and then we'll just pick up from the same sitting. Episode 3 is going to be Ian from Captain's Pod and Mark from Nevermind Music. Episode 4 is a little bit of a surprise crew, but I'm calling up 2 of our lore masters. Duve71 and Brian 8063 are going to be representing the fan community. So I think that's really exciting. Duve is a big Alien fan, and I talked to him for the Alias thing, or the Romulus coverage. And I thought, well, if I've got Duve, his spiritual lore master brother is Brian 8063, who is one of our moderators as well. And so I said, hey, Brian, you want to join us? And I think Brian's going to be stepping in with you on.
Yes. He and his sister Elysia, aka Red Zippy. So also it's going to be a Lore Masters episode. We're going to be talking about the Gilded Age after the season 3 ends next week already. Wow.
Okay, good. Well, that's going to be fun. And then for episodes 5 and 6, I've got Anthony and Steve, both from Properly Howard Movie Review, and they're going to be doing 5 and 6 with me. I know they're both pretty excited for this. And then bringing in to help me wrap it up, episode 7 is going to be Ron Dawson, who we all know from Dungeons and Durags, and maybe he might bring one of his compatriots from Dungeons and Durags. We're still waiting to see. If not, it'll be him and I for sure. And then my anchor host will be Aisha from every single sci-fi film ever. And she is super excited. And she is one of those people who is like, she's in complete media blackout right now because she wants to know nothing. She's super excited.
Well, you guys first connected over Alien, didn't you?
Yeah, that was one of our first big projects. Yeah, as a big joint sort of between podcast projects was that. but we had talked before because I just really dug what she was doing.
Mhm.
And and that's as we were talking, and then that sort of arose, and we figured, oh, that'll be a fun first thing.
Cool. I'm excited.
So subscribers already have access to a visual breakdown of the first trailer. I did that a few months ago. That's in your Patreon or Supercast feeds. For feedback, we have a new email address, AVP, as in Alien V Predators, AVP at thelorehounds.com. Thanks, Elysia, for helping me figure that address out. I was trying to think of all the things, and you were just like, dude, just call it AVP. And I was like, of course, duh. And so I'll put that link in the show notes for that. And then, of course, on our Discord, we have a whole forum. It's in the current show area right now. And we're going to have individual episode threads for each episode. And if you need help, sometimes the forum structure is a little weird. If you need help, just shout out on the general channel or go to the support channel and then ask, because sometimes you can't always see the forum threads.
You have to follow it. If you post in a thread for an episode, then you'll automatically be following it. Otherwise, there's a little check mark at the top of each. So you just click on the top of the forum and you'll see all the options.
Right. And then the mods always post these little graphics that show like click on this button to follow it and that kind of stuff. We always put those at the top.
Thank you, Brian.
So yes, for sure. And Aaron for making that. All right. So the setting and how it fits. This show is going to be set in 2120, which is 2 years before the setting for the original Aliens film. And yes, Sadai in the Discord posted today. She's like, what should I watch? Which one should I? You don't need to re-watch anything. You can come into this fresh because it's a prequel that's going to fit into the storyline of the mainline movies. So if you're worried about the Ridley Scott prequels, think of those as a parallel storyline that are not this story universe. And so Noah Hawley has specifically set this in line so you can watch this. You can then watch the 1979 movie Alien, and then you can watch the 1986 movie Aliens.
And Romulus in between, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. You're right. I forgot Romulus in between because Romulus falls in between Alien and Aliens. That's a very, very good point. I missed that. So you don't really need to have watched anything. You should just be able to sit down and pick up from this show if you're not part of the Alien story verse already. I was reading a whole bunch of stuff from Noah Hawley. He's really into this sort of retro cassette futurism look and feel. They're putting a lot of value on practical effects and real world sets. So if you see somebody striding through a sort of a creek bed, they're doing that. It's not CGI water or anything. They're actually they spent a lot of time in Bangkok filming physically there, which gives it a whole different look and feel to things. And a really great quote from, this quote is sort of a summation of what Noah Hawley was saying, is that he wants Alien Earth to feel emotionally and thematically linked to Alien and Aliens rather than following the direct lineage of the prequels, which are the Ridley Scott 2 movies that Noah Hawley has kind of said weren't really useful for him in terms of what he was trying to recreate from the show. So let's talk a little bit about Noah Hawley. You really like Noah Hawley, guessing by your reactions.
I mean, I haven't watched Fargo, and I know that I need to remedy that. I know that it's a special favorite of yours, and everyone who watches it likes it. So I need to get on that. But his show Legion is one of my favorite shows ever, especially the first season, particularly, and just the freshness and out of the box thinking. Just a slight spoiler for Legion. It stars Dan Stevens and Aubrey Plaza, and Dan Stevens plays an X-Men character who is he basically absorbs other personas into his head. Mm-hmm. So he's not a mentally well character, but it's a very powerful and very chaotic character, and just the way that the show is able to communicate this through the visuals, through like visuals that still stick in my head clear as day, years later, through like the way that the unreliable narrator trope is played with. Okay. I just think he's extremely inventive while also diving into the emotional depths.
And I would say that is a nice summation of who Noah Hawley is on screen. So Legion, which ran from 2017 through 2019, and then Fargo, which ran from 2014 up to 24, are his biggest known things. He did do a movie called Lucy in the Sky in 2019, starring Natalie Portman. A lot of references that I saw from other professionals and sort of studio people, they kind of see him as a television auteur in a way, as opposed to a film auteur, which is interesting because we don't talk about television auteur theory. It's usually film theory. So I think it's an interesting thing. I don't know many other people who fit around that. He's also an essayist and novelist. He's got 6 published books. He's got a book called For the Fall, published in 2016. That was a bestseller. And he's written articles for The Atlantic and a bunch of other stuff. And so he's just a really prolific and creative guy. A lot of his themes seem to revolve around existential exploration, moral ambiguity, power and institutions. And then, like you were kind of saying, there's a lot of genre blending and exploration and experimentation of the forms. I remember I was not alive yet to my television podcasting sense when I first tried out Legion, and it was so colorful and so genre bending. I was like, well, I don't know what I'm watching here. I couldn't watch it. So, but I want to go back and check it out. His career, and then he's sort of known for this. Having the skill of being a reinterpreter of properties like Marvel with Legion, and then Fargo, obviously adapting the Coen brothers film into a pretty successful TV anthology that sort of expands the vibes. It keeps the vibes present, but he's able to build out into new types of storytelling, tell different kinds of stories. So. I tried to do some more deep research as well as to what future plans are after Alien Earth. From what I can come up with, he has not been on record for saying what he's doing after Alien Earth. And we don't have confirmation if there's going to be a season 2 or not. However, there are some sources out there who, and I believe even Noah Hawley said this, that season 1 is kind of a proof of concept season, and that he's been quoted as saying that he does have a multi-series arc in mind, maybe up to 5 seasons. And then there was some other studio chatter about, well, we'll wait and see, and how does it go, and we won't decide anything until we, have some more information. So it feels a little bit like Shogun in some ways, where once they actually get out and they get reception, then they're going to make up their minds as to whether they proceed or not. But it sounds like season 1 is going to be a contained story, just like Shogun was. And then if it's successful, then they'll think about doing future seasons.
Right. Or like Murderbot was, I mean, it was adapting the novel, but the way that it ended, it could have very much just ended there if it hadn't done as well as it did. And it's been renewed, yay. But it
was fun. I went and binge watched it. I think I mentioned this before. I really enjoyed it once I got past. Once I oriented to what it was and what it wasn't.
Right.
Yeah, I was like, oh, this is really funny. It's really fresh.
Right. So, and a very emotional ending too.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so let's quickly talk about our Predator coverage and talk a little bit more about Killer of Killers, Badlands. What do you want to say? Do you have anything to say about Badlands?
I'm super excited about it based on the trailer. I guess I won't spoil that one either, but it seems it's a very fresh take, and the trailer, I love Dan Trachtenberg is basically running point over on the Predator side of things now, and this makes me very happy. I loved Prey. I thought Killer of Killers was great and intriguing, and Badlands looks like the comedic timing's on point, but it also looks like it's going to be a surprisingly emotional story from an unusual perspective.
Right. And that's coming out November 7th. We're definitely doing a one shot on that.
Mhm.
You, me, and whoever else is in, but I'm definitely wanting to talk to you about that
Yes.
once it's out. And we have a great review of Prey for subscribers in our 11Zs collections. And then you and I also did a What You Watchin' on Predator Killer of Killers, which was the animated one that came out earlier this year. So it really does. It feels like Trachtenberg's got things going on in Predators, and if everybody's happy with how Hawley is approaching Alien Earth, we could really see over the next few years some exciting developments for both of these story worlds.
Yeah, I was going to say I'm excited that I hear a lot of comparisons with that Alien Earth is to the Alien franchise what Andor is to Star Wars.
Oh, interesting. That's an interesting comparison. I did see that, so it was just San Diego Comic-Con just passed. And apparently both Trachtenberg and Hawley were making noises like, okay, because the fans kept saying, is there crossover? Is this in the same story universe? What's going on here? Because obviously we have some very clear signaling in the Badlands trailer. And both of them have roughly said things to the effect of, if there is organic, story-driven connectivity and we can kind of play with it in a soft crossover way, that's cool. But what neither of us as directors want to do is go at it from a cash grab. Oh, let's merge the IPs so that we can dominate, and just milk it for the IP. So at least two of the most active creators in these story spaces are making statements in the market saying, we don't want to go for the cash grab. We want to go for the creativity. And if the creativity leads us to crossover, then we'll play with it.
Why wouldn't it?
And because there's long been this, I think it started in some comic books, didn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Even before the Danny Glover Predator movie?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay, because I remember the first time.
But there are still there are lots of crossovers with Aliens and Predators and lots of other and DC characters or just a lot of other comic book characters like Ninja Turtles. I think at one point everybody.
Oh, funny! I think the first place I was present to it was actually in the movie with Danny Glover when he's going into the spaceship towards the end. And there's a xenomorph skull on the wall amongst all of these other Predator trophies. And, I'm sure the set deck was just like, oh, let's have some fun. And just put a bunch of wink, wink, nod, nod stuff up there. And then that, if it started prior to that, I don't know. I just don't know the information on it. So I'm sure the internets know. All right, Elysia, that klaxon was to warn folks of incoming spoilers. We're going to talk about the known story so far. So if you don't want to know anything more about what's coming down the pipe, now is the time to check out. There's not going to be any new information. Everything that we needed to cover was already covered before. And now we're just going to speculate. And we're going to talk about spoilers for any aliens-related stuff. And we're going to talk about what we know about the show so far. So here we go. Here's a little synopsis of what we know. So, like I said, it's set in 2120, 2 years before the original film. There are 5 mega corporations controlling the Earth. Weyland-Yutani and Prodigy are the 2 primary rivals. The Weyland-Yutani...
I used to be a Prodigy user. Sorry, I think it's a different Prodigy.
I think so. I think there's a whole Peter Pan vibe, search for youth sort of thing going on with this. And I think it's definitely a Noah Hawley theme that he's putting in there. Anyway, the Weyland-Yutani spaceship Maginot crash lands in Southeast Asia in an area that's controlled by the Prodigy. Okay, now I can't say it. That corporation. And on this ship, there are 5 different alien species that end up getting loose because of the crash. And did one of them break out beforehand? We have some information that says to the a xenomorph might have already been on the loose, and that's what caused the spaceship to crash. That company has technology to transfer human consciousness into synthetic bodies. And this is this whole search for immortality and sort of the boy
Sign
wonder.
me up. I'm sure there's nothing's going to go wrong with that.
So, all right, Elysia, you have a choice. You can have Spice from the Dune world or an alien synthetic body, one or the other.
I mean, the synthetic. Oh, okay, but the Spice comes with. I feel like the synthetic body would be better because I'd be like make it like when I was 24,
Right, and you could just stay up. You don't need the Spice.
Right, right, and I can do like back handsprings again and things like that. But
you don't need to be Demerzel or Paul Atreides.
But Spice does give you other powers too.
Right.
So that's the question. Like, do I want the physical capabilities or do I want, the slowed aging with the mental stuff? And yeah, okay, I'll take the mind powers.
All right.
Spice me up.
I love it. I loved watching your brain try to factor all of the different options here. All right. So anyway, we have this consciousness in the synthetic bodies, and then that has created this little cadre that they're calling in the show the Lost Boys, child minds in powerful synthetic forms. Wendy, the Sydney Chandler character, is one of these, and we see in the trailers her consciousness being transferred into one of these bodies. And then Kirsch, who's being played by Timothy Olyphant, he's a regular synthetic, right? He's already Bishop and Kane and all the others. And so Wendy, Kirsch, and the Lost Boys are assigned to go investigate. So there's aliens on the loose, there's corporate shenanigans, and there's all these ethical dilemmas about technology and identity and, moral compromise situations in the face of survival. You just said you caught up on the trailers. Did you, there's 2 or 3 of them out right now, right?
There's 2 out of,
and there's a behind the scenes look as well. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And you also were telling me about the Maginot shorts.
Yes.
I saw the one with the cat. There's a POV of the cat.
Exactly. So there's 5 of those, and I couldn't find them online. I had them already downloaded, and apparently it's from the ship, and they have a ship's cat, kind of like Jonesy from the original movie. And somebody puts a 2120
or something.
Yeah, exactly. Their version of a GoPro on the cat, and the cat goes running around, and it's mostly cute. It just shows you around. The ship is designed very much like the Nostromo and the computer room and all that kind of stuff. And then something goes wrong, and it seems like a xenomorph gets loose as they're approaching Earth, which then causes the ship to crash land rather than safely land when they get there. So So what are you thinking? What do you got?
I mean, I think this is an interesting setup with the they have the sick children they're putting in the older bodies, and that part's all cool. And that was the first that was highlighted in the first trailer, and I think maybe it was the second trailer that highlighted even more the behind the scenes stuff about the fact that we're getting not just xenomorphs, which we haven't even seen in the trailers yet, but we're getting new alien species, and maybe that might be what I'm most excited about. It's just, what's the creature design going to be? What is the rest? Are they from the same world as the xenomorphs, or are they just being collected around the galaxy? Tell us about this galaxy.
And I think that's a fun way to expand the storytelling potentials, because we've got a lot of films of just the xenomorph, right? Okay, we get it. We like it. We're here for it. But hey, there's 4 more creatures that we've invented to terrify you and to make your mind go, what? And give our characters, our primary characters, more to deal with. And I think that is a really smart thing. So it sounds like Weyland-Yutani had a ship out in the universe looking for life forms, specifically these, extreme kinds of creatures. And so this menagerie that's being brought back for biomedical, weapons research technology, right? So who's the monster, right? The corporation or the xenomorph, that whole thing. That's, he's playing on that, but expanding it in a cool way. And this is one of the things that I'm really happy for, is that it goes back and answers this question. If you go back to the original 1979 movie, and again, we're full spoilers here, is how did Weyland-Yutani know to not only redirect the Nostromo to go to LV, whatever the planet number is, and go check out the signal, but they put Kane on board. They replaced the ship's science officer just before they left. And there's a scene with Ripley and, of course, I'm blanking all the names just when I need all the names in the head. Anyway, the captain of the ship, the captain of the Nostromo, where Ripley confronts him and says, "Hey, what's the deal with Kane?" And he says, "I don't know. They swapped him out just before we left." And of course, he's got secret orders, that whole thing. And so Weyland-Yutani knew before they sent the Nostromo out that there was this signal and there was a ship. How did they know that? And it sounds like Noah Hawley has a really elegant answer for that in a way that still keeps it kind of cool and mysterious, but at the same time builds in some logical connectivity, between this story and then.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm also, since we're on the, since we can talk trailers now, I'm also going to mention the Predator Badlands trailer now.
Right.
And yeah, we see the Weyland-Yutani tech, and including we see that Elle Fanning plays a model of these androids. And so that begs the question, there is clearly a connection. That is an outright connection between, that's
the key frame that they use to for the trailer is her eyeballs with the little Weyland-Yutani splash screen logos on her eyeballs. And her behind on her head is the Weyland-Yutani logo as well on a piece of, whatever material. It's like, if you are in this world, you're like, oh, bro, you just hit me in the face with a 10,000 watt spotlight, right? You just signaled to me in the biggest possible way.
And they say something, so it's about her and a predator who's having his first hunt, and they team up, and they help each other basically. And she says at one point, I think we're not the only ones here hunting, or something like to that effect. And then you see something that looks like it comes from, it would be an animal on the alien planet, on the xenomorph planet,
Okay.
Leaps at them.
Okay. I'm going to have to go back and do a trailer breakdown.
That's at the very last frame of the trailer, I think.
Okay. Got it. And that's the great thing about doing those trailer breakdowns, is I can scrub through and actually look very closely at individual frames. And boy, there's a lot of, they pack those things with a lot of information. So that's exciting. It sounds really fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there won't be too direct of links, because, that wouldn't be, especially, they don't want to have to say people have to watch this show to watch this movie or vice versa, but still clearly the same world. And I can imagine that they might share creatures or things like that.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Just kind of a soft connection. We were saying that they were saying a soft crossover, like they're quoted it from San Diego. So, all right, cool. Any other thoughts, or otherwise I think we can wrap it up.
No, I mean, I'm very excited. I have looked at some of the reviews of the people who have watched the entire season. They did spoiler-free reviews, and it seems to be positive. It seems to be what I would hope and expect. So, yeah, very hype levels are high.
Yeah, especially for Noah Hawley, who's really, 5 seasons of Fargo, 3 seasons of Legion. Anna,
3 seasons of Legion, yeah.
Yeah, so Anna movie, so he's done his time.
He's done other shows as well, yeah. But,
right.
Yeah.
I mean, those are his big ones, which are successful that we know, and so he's he's got a proven track record. So, and it sounds like he really kept, and I think FX is good. So between FX and him, FX is gave him the bubble to play in and did things right as a studio. And it sounds like they gave him the creative control within the box the frame that they set for him, which is a lot like what happened with Shogun, right? That it sounds like it was a very productive relationship between the studio and the showrunners. And I think FX to me has got some of that special HBO magic dust, right? Where you have good creative development, but supporting your directors.
Yeah, they take a step back. They say, we are investing in this project because we believe in it and we believe in you as a creator. You know, they hand select their creators and then they let them do their thing.
Exactly. So, excitement all around. So I will see you and Luke next Friday. I think we've already I got to put the scheduling in, but I think we already decided on a time. And maybe patrons will get an early release Friday night, and then I think we'll go live everybody else Saturday morning. I think we still got to juggle. We got to make sure that you, me, and John are all lined up.
Right, because Foundation comes out on Fridays too.
Yeah, exactly. So we don't want to overload people, but we also don't want to make you wait. Because a Tuesday, because most of the people I'm recording with they're scattered all over the place, and so Fridays seem to be the best day for recording for everybody. So
Peacemaker comes out on Friday. We don't have screeners. HBO, why?
Well, same with FX. We asked, we begged, we pleaded. We said, please, what do you need from us?
Yeah. So Peacemaker episodes, I think I'm going to put them out on Mondays to give a little breathing room for Foundation and Alien.
An embarrassment of riches. So, all right. Anyway, let's wrap it up from here. Thanks very much, Elysia, for doing this with me. I'm excited to talk to you. Lou and Uke? Luke and you next Friday. I can tell I'm getting tongue-tied. It's been a long week, so I appreciate it.
I'm excited. Can't wait to kick this off with you here, and excited to really kick it off next week.
Awesome. All right. Talk to you soon.
The Lorehounds podcast is produced and published by The Lorehounds. You can send questions and feedback and voicemails at thelorehounds.com/contact. Get early and ad-free access to all Lorehounds podcasts at patreon.com/thelorehounds. Any opinions stated are ours personally and do not reflect the opinion of or belong to any employers or other entities. Thanks for listening.